After enduring 4 relentless years of yearning, my thirst for fulfillment unsatisfied, akin to the cruel tease of icy water that vanishes before it touches my lips. I felt a flicker of light pierce through my suffocating darkness. That flicker arrived in the form of Ted. It all began innocently enough, an introduction from a female friend I had known for 4 years. A friendship grounded in laughter and shared secrets. I often found myself envious of her ability to attract young, handsome, wealthy men while I remained an unseen ghost, shrouded in the shadows. So when I finally met Ted, it felt monumental, like stepping into a world lit by hope after years of twilight. But perhaps I should have listened to my instincts, which warned me of lurking danger. The moment Ted entered my life, it was as if a veil had dropped over my senses. My friend, who had once been my guide, vanished without a trace. No calls, no text, no friendly chat. Her absence felt like the swallowing of light. The loss left a chilling sense of isolation gnawing at my heart. Ted began with small, thoughtful gifts, tokens that seemed meaningful at first. Then the calls morphed into visits, growing increasingly frequent, until I felt like a ripe apple hanging from a tree, waiting for him to pluck me from my perch. When he finally asked me to join him on a 3-day getaway, I agreed without hesitation. The excitement coursed through me. A sweet rush of anticipation, yet a quiet unease crept deep in my gut. What was meant to be a scenic drive turned eerie as we ventured into a dense forest. It felt as if we were the last 2 souls on Earth. No signs of life, no houses, and no other vehicles in sight. My anxiety spiraled further as we passed through a grand, imposing gate-marked private property. After what felt like an eternity, we suddenly found ourselves confronted by a magnificent mansion, white and surreal against the wild backdrop of swaying trees. The sight brought a flutter of exhilaration, but it was quickly extinguished by the realization of how isolated we had become. The parking lot was peppered with gleaming luxury cars, an inviting facade that would soon morph into my waking nightmare. I should have sensed the underlying menace. An elderly man greeted us, impeccably dressed yet bearing the weight of time in his eyes, as he helped carry our light luggage to the upper floor. As he turned to leave, his gaze fell upon mine. I saw pity, a flash of something unspoken that made chills race up my spine. Was it a warning? This stare lingered ominously in my mind, a riddle I could not decipher. When alone with Ted, everything seemed perfect. A surreal dream wrapped in vibrant colors. I encountered the old man again. A sense of urgency filled his voice as he cautioned me. Beautiful things may be dangerous. The words seeped deeper into my psyche like poison. Only one person leaves this place alive, he continued, his tone grave. Panic washed over me. I couldn't comprehend the implications. What is this place? I asked, but he brushed aside my inquiries as if they were mere dust in the wind, dancing just out of reach. His eyes were filled with a burden of knowledge I dared to avoid. He spoke again, detailing how on the 3rd day Ted would invite me for a stroll. Wear high heels, he advised. There's a stream along your path, shallow enough to fall into. Let its water touch your face. The gravity of his words anchored itself within me, icy and unrelenting. The final destination loomed ominously in his descriptions, a lake, where only one of us would leave alive. Ted would push me in, and if I wanted to survive, I must act first. Distract him, wait for a squelching sound that would emerge from the depths, then push him into the lake. A hand would rise from the chaotic waters, offering me a ring which I must take and never look back. Before I could process what he had laid before me, he disappeared like vapor in the wind. Was this man a madman? Could the beautiful Ted truly be entangled in such wickedness? The old man's warnings echoed incessantly in my mind, growing louder as dread settled in my bones. Then uncertainty gripped me like ice. I had nowhere to run. My surroundings were alien, the reality of my fate hanging over me like a guillotine. Was I a sacrificial lamb? I fought to conceal my fear beneath a mask of indifference whenever Ted was near. Just as the old man had predicted, Ted invited me for a stroll. I donned my high heels, a weapon disguised in beauty, and to my horror, the stream emerged just as I had been warned. Staying true to my unknown mentor's instructions, I stumbled, allowing my hands to dip into the cold water. Before long, we reached the lake, its beauty deceptive and haunting, a crystal-clear surface without even a ripple. Silence reigned, an oppressive stillness blanketing the area, with no chirping birds to break the oppressive quietude. My heart raced, mixing exhilaration with terror each time I recalled the old man's chilling warning. Only one person leaves alive. Was I just another victim? Or did I possess some twisted bond that made me special? As doubt flooded my mind, I saw Ted approaching, oblivious to my turmoil. He praised the lake's beauty, mentioning his many visits to this wretched place. What had he done to deserve such splendor? My heart raced with anxiety. Surely I couldn't let myself become yet another sacrifice. In a moment of reckless desperation, I beckoned him closer, my hands cascading over his body like a wild river. "Let's enjoy this up close," he said, a teasing glint in his eyes that made my skin crawl. I countered urgently, "No, Ted. Let's not waste our chance, please." Everything about our exchange felt like a dangerous dance. The old man's words, echoing relentlessly in my mind as I awaited the signal from the depths. Moments stretched painfully, a back-and-forth battle of seduction and distraction. My mind raced as the seconds turned into eternity. Then at last, I heard it, a slow squelching sound rising from the depths of the water behind me. Ted was completely absorbed in our argument, unaware of the impending danger. With my back now turned to the lake, I seized the moment. I twisted him suddenly, forcing him to face the ominous expanse of water, the panic in his eyes now mingling with dawning realization. With a surge of strength I never knew I possessed, I pushed him. His expression morphed from surprise to sheer terror as he shouted, "No!" A gut-wrenching cry echoing through the silence, swallowed up by the water that consumed him. My heart raced. What had I just done? Had I just killed a man? I trembled, hands buried in my slick hair, fear crashing over me like waves against a rocky shore. As I sat exhausted at the bank, the atmosphere shifted. Suddenly, unsettling noises erupted from the lake, the calm water swirling violently as if stirred by a force deep within. I was paralyzed with confusion, unsure of how to react. As I slumped down, an unnatural heaviness lay upon my chest. Then, emerging from the chaotic waters, a hand appeared, fingers beckoning like a ghostly specter. My breath caught in my throat, and it felt as if I was starring in a live horror film. It held a shimmering golden ring, rising just above the water's surface. Something unseen compelled me closer. "Take it, put it on your middle finger. Come back when you need more," a voice echoed. A demand, not a suggestion. My heart raced with dread. Did I truly desire more after this horrifying ordeal? No, yet against my better judgment, I reached for the glimmering ring, and the instant I touched it, the tumult around me vanished. The water stilled, an unnatural silence enveloping me like a shroud. Frantically, I removed my heels and sprinted back to the room where we were staying, my pulse racing as I gathered my belongings. I snatched the keys to Ted's car, my only instinct urging me to escape back to the city. I didn't even know how I navigated my way back. I stumbled into my apartment, collapsing into a chair, too exhausted to comprehend the whirlwind of terror I had just survived. I surrendered to unconsciousness. In sleep, nightmares plagued my mind, visions of Ted shouting, "No! Who told you?" echoed endlessly in my dreams, wrapping themselves around my psyche. When I awoke, the fear clawed viciously at me. I thought I had escaped it all, but the radiance of the golden ring on my finger brought forth fresh dread. Was my escape merely an illusion? Is this what transpired with the friend who had introduced me to Ted? Had I somehow escaped her fate? Panic gripped me anew. Had I truly killed someone? I cautiously peeked out of my window. The unmistakable silhouette of Ted's car loomed outside. His key lay carelessly on the table, a reminder of the harrowing night. I was bewildered and on the edge. What did it all mean? Sleep came again, but it was fraught with shadows, figures darting, whispering secrets I could not grasp. They invaded my dreams, weaving a tapestry of fear and uncertainty that left me shivering when morning light broke. The following day, I clad myself in unease as I approached my wardrobe for the first time since that terrifying getaway. I staggered back, stunned as crisp notes spilled forth. Money, an overwhelming quantity, flooding out like a torrent. How? When? I covered my mouth in disbelief. The realization struck me cold. This was what the voice had meant. This was how Ted had accrued his wealth. I would have been traded for cash, a life snuffed out for cold, hard currency. My skin prickled with horror as the weight of the truth pressed upon me. 2 years have now gone by, and each morning, without fail, more crisp bills appear, unfurling like a devil's contract. No matter how I spend the smallest portion, riches flow like a river, yet the ongoing fear remains. Will the spirits who deliver this bounty demand another life? What would they want from me? These questions haunt my waking moments. I have retraced the path back to that cursed mansion in my mind, but what could I say? How could I confront that sinister world again? Deep down, I know that one day, the haunting shadows supplying my luxurious life will return to collect their due, and I shudder at the thought of what price I'll be forced to pay.